Hi, my name is Tina Raffa-FOREVER. Welcome to my office. I'm sitting in my favorite room in my whole house. It is my room. As you can see, my favorite color is pink. And this is where I do all my work, all my fun stuff. I like to color, I like to draw, I like to do business. I like to research things. I run a Mary Kay business out of this office. I'm a Mary Kay consultant, beauty consultant, and I love to read. So I keep my favorite books in here. If I had it my way, this place would be walled with books. I love to read books. However, I don't have enough room for that yet. But here to share my story a little bit with you today. I had the urge to say I'm Tina, I'm an alcoholic, because I say that a lot because I attend sobriety meetings. I have been in recovery from alcoholism for 16 years at this time. However, the first time I ended up in sobriety was in 1990. I was only 20 years old. And I ended up in a recovery program because I was addicted to methamphetamines, marijuana, alcohol, and I was really a lost person. When I was 20 years old, after been using and drinking since I was like by my own choice since I was about 13. I have since learned that, I had been given alcohol since I was a baby even. So, but however, I turned to drugs and alcohol when I was 13 on a regular basis. And at 20, by the age of 20, I was in so much emotional pain that I wanted to die, wanted to kill myself. I was extremely suicidal. That is the first time I had so much pain that I was just ready to go. And I turned to my mother at that time, who told me about a program that once saved her life. I had no idea that it existed. And so I tried it, showed up, and actually could not believe how much I resonated with the program that I ended up in. I learned about addiction. I learned what an addict was. And I have since learned that I definitely have the disease of addiction and alcoholism. And so that started my journey into that when I was 20 years old. Back up a little bit. My mother is still here today. However, my father was a heroin addict in and out of prison. And he left when I was 5. Well, they divorced when I was 2, I believe. But I never saw him again after the age of 5. I do not remember seeing him at 5. That's what I was told. And that was my biggest owie in my heart, that my dad, I had never got to have a relationship with my dad. But since then, I've come a long ways in that area. It's been many years since when I went into that program when I was 20, I stayed for 11 years. I resonated with the group that I found, and because of their traditions, I'm not supposed to say. They're supposed to stay anonymous at the level of press, radio, and films, and I plan to publish my story. So, however, you can personal message me if you want to know where I went and what I did. It's the best thing I ever did, and I've always resonated with these people. These people became the family I never had, and I started to learn about myself, about my disease, and to get better. However, I stayed there 11 years, and I stayed clean and sober, and I went back to college. I got a couple college degrees. I got my AA. I got my bachelor's in psychology. I got married and, had cars. I got a awesome career. I got my dream job in recovery. My dream job was to work, and because I had been given so much by the gift of sobriety, I wanted to give back, and I wanted to earn my living doing that too, and be a counselor. So, but the first job I got that I applied for in sobriety was at prison, and there was the first female drug and alcohol program in prison, and my stepdad at the time told me I needed to apply for that because I was about to get my bachelor's degree, and I did not want to work in a prison, but he was very firm about it, and basically told me, you need to apply for that job. So I did, and I was really scared and did not want to go into a prison. However, I did want to work in recovery, and so they ended up, because I didn't have any experience as a counselor, they did hire me as an intake specialist. It means I got to interview everyone coming into the program, and that was good enough for me. I was so happy to be working in recovery on my dream job. And that began my journey into prison. And I was scared to death the first time I walked in that prison. And however, I stayed there 5 years and worked with the women, which was really, really a gift. I loved working with the women. The program that I was working in was voluntary. They wanted to be there. So it was very gratifying to see women, turning their life around and getting their families back and wanting to do things differently and helping them. Even though I was only the intake specialist, I got to watch a lot of really cool things happen. Watch people recover was really awesome. And it was there that I met a female officer that worked our floor, and she was small and petite like myself. She was very feminine and was not the stereotypical officer that we often think of. And I was in awe of how she did her job. Asked her if she liked it, and she did. And because of the difference in pay was much better, I decided to sign up and to give it a try, give it a go. And good thing I did. God really was looking out for me, because just before I was accepted into the academy to be an officer, that program went under, lost funding, and was no longer. So it was really a God thing. God was looking out for me, and I was able to just switch from one to the other, go to the next job as an officer. However, boy, did I not know what was coming. I still want it. That lady must have been tough as nails, a lot tougher than me, because it was a rude awakening. Just being a counselor in prison and program, being contract employee versus being a guard was a whole different animal, and I wasn't ready for it. I was extremely naive. I was still in recovery at this point, but I went through the academy and cried a lot through it on the track. I was not too tough. Not back then. But I have to say, I've 21 years now, fast forward into the department. I'm a lot tougher than I was then, and that's what a good thing that did for me. It toughened me up in a lot of areas that I needed to be, and but it also you also got to be careful not to get a chip on your shoulder, not get too big for your britches. And I've had moments of that over the years. It has caused me great difficulty, but so today, after 21 years in the department, I'm married for my third time to another officer, to a really terrific guy. I have a wonderful home, and I have my relationships with my family are repaired, which I had ruined in my alcoholism. I was estranged from my son in my alcoholism, and I made a lot of mistakes. I wanted to, once again, I relapsed after those 11 years. I don't know if I said that, and I relapsed because I thought it was all that when I went into the department. Thought it was all that, and I could drink again. I wasn't an alcoholic. I knew I couldn't do drugs, but I didn't see why I couldn't drink. And so I drank again and lost everything. Everything. Lost a marriage, my son, a truck was repossessed, lost my home. I was fighting with all my family members. I lost self-respect. I wanted to die once again, just like when I was 20. And ended up right there again, wanting to axe myself, basically. I had a lot of different plans how I was going to do that. And thank God that one of the people in the program reached out to me and called me to see how I was doing, invited me back. And I did go back reluctantly. And now today I have 16 years sober as of today. And I'm super grateful. And I realize that all the darkness that I've experienced, that I really have a duty to give it back. All the people that have helped me over the years, I want to give it back. There's people suffering out there. There's people dying. There's people hurting like I was. And I just can't stand by and watch that. I've got to reach out and help people. So sharing my story is my first venture into helping others. And I don't want to make it too long and drawn out. One of my biggest dreams in recovery that I accomplished was publishing my story in these 2 books. Women Who Illuminate is my story of sobriety. It's called The Magic of Sobriety. And Women Who Impact is my story of parent alienation syndrome. When I was estranged from my son, I lost custody. And parent alienation syndrome is when one parent brainwashes the child against the other parent, and it's a very complicated subject. And I learned how to reverse it. Many people lose their kids forever and don't talk to them again. And I was at the risk of having that happen to me. And it was the most painful experience of my entire life. I felt like when I lost my son, when he hated me, that my heart was literally ripped out of my chest while I was still breathing. And so helping people reverse it is what I want to do today.